The FIRE movement is terrible, according to CNBC. Now, we're talking about the Financial Independence Retire Early movement, and this is only one of many articles written by mainstream investment channels that tend to criticize or at least poke holes in this movement, only because I think they feel threatened. How dare you take charge of your own finances? How dare you spend less, save more, and outsmart our debt slave system that favors banks and governments and investment monopolies? How dare you retire early and get out of the rat race? Ha! Hello again, this is Douglas Lucky Larson on the Retire Early and Often channel. You can even find us now on Twitter with the handle @RetireOften. Here we talk about macro and personal economics and how you can retire early and often by implementing the important priorities that will help you find happiness all along your journey to financial freedom. Now, I am not in any way officially affiliated with the FIRE movement, but my own life and financial strategies have been parallel in many ways to this lifestyle. So I've loved following different FIRE groups on Facebook and other places to see what they're doing and what their strategies are. I find it fascinating. So when I saw this article on CNBC poking holes in it, I thought, oh, how dare you? Let's take a look at this article. All right, so looking closer at the article, CNBC says, if you're hoping to retire early, you'll have to find a way to replace your salary without working. Duh. That's the whole point. Under a traditional model, they say, that means accumulating enough savings that you can withdraw some every year to fund your lifestyle, while the rest continues to grow. Okay. So first of all, when they use the word traditional, I'm a little suspect of the article in the first place. So, traditionally, actually, there was something called pensions, a defined benefit where you work for a large company or the military, local or federal or state municipalities as a government worker, IRS worker, teachers, police, fire, all kinds of things. And you get a defined benefit, a pension. You give them a couple decades of your life and they give you money until you die. That was the whole point of it. That's not a nest egg that you build up. You don't have, a dollar amount sitting in a bank account. But they didn't even mention that, let alone things like stock options when you work for a larger company. I know a lot of people who've retired early with stock options. And you say, well, I want to retire at 30. Okay, that's a little hard to do with a pension, but I know a lot of people who spent 20 years in the military between 18 and 38 and retired. Okay, maybe they still have to work a little bit part-time, but let me tell you, it's working for them. Teachers, police, firemen, a lot of people have been able to pull on their pensions and make it work. My father-in-law worked for a large company, Rio Tinto. You probably heard of them. They're big in the mining industry. Worked for them for 25, 30 years and was able to retire, technically early, and pull a pension there for, many years now. So, yes, pensions are important. Stock options, important. To say traditional model and not even mention those, stupid. It's a stupid article. All right, moving on. Short of winning the Powerball, and what was that up to, like $2 billion recently? Crazy. How much do you need to save? Adherents of the FIRE movement, short for Financial Independence Retire Early, aim for a target of 25 times your annual income in retirement. Okay, so let's break this down. If you think you might need $50,000 per year in retirement, well, you'd have to have 1.25 million. $50,000, I know, doesn't sound like a lot in today's world, and we've got this inflation thing going crazy, and you're going to need more, but inflation adjusted, $50,000, it could eventually work, especially if you got housing paid for, over your 10 years of real FIRE sacrifices and savings and investing. It could happen. If you think that you're going to need more like 100K, well, you just double that amount. You're going to need 2.5 million. Okay, that's the math. All right, so the figure known as your FIRE number is based on the idea that you can safely withdraw 4% of your portfolio per year, adjusted for inflation, without running out of money. This 4% rule comes from a 1998 research report known as the Trinity Study, which examined historical market performance to determine a safe withdrawal rate in retirement. So, what was that performance rate? Well, they thought that historically you're going to get about an 8% return, 7.5%, 8% return, on average over a couple decades of saving your money. That's what the stock market has done. But we have up years, and we have down years. So you got to watch for that. They talk about that later as well. Okay, next bullet point. But here's the thing. The number in the Trinity study, these numbers were geared toward people looking for a traditional retirement in their mid-60s. When it comes to using this as the sole basis for your retirement, your early retirement, experts are skeptical. Experts. Well, who are these experts that are so skeptical? David Blanchett. I think it's a terrible idea, he says. He is the managing director and head of retirement planning at PGIM. Well, wait a second. PGIM? Who are they? And how's he an expert? Well, I looked him up on the internet because I can Google. And look, I don't know what PGIM stands for, but 150 years ago, they started out as actually a Prudential Friendly Society in Newark, New Jersey. Then eventually they dropped the friendly part. I'm sure you can guess why. And they became PFI, Prudential Financial Incorporated. Then eventually they became this PGIM. Now they have $1.3 trillion under management. They started out in insurance and lending. Now they are global. And they have all kinds of assets under management. But for us in the United States, it's mostly direct contribution funds. So it's, when you have a 401k at work, or pension funds for municipalities and, local and state governments. ETFs, REITs, all kinds of things. These are the guys that handle that. They're not taking your money individually. They're taking your money that's invested through huge corporations and huge municipalities. So anyway, these guys are huge. Did I mention huge? Yeah. So what's the likelihood that they want you as an individual to be independent of their monopoly? Not likely. So, of course, somebody like him is going to say, it's a terrible idea. Trust the experts, they say. Trust us, because we are the experts. Makes me angry. All right, back to the article, though. I skipped a lot in the middle, but let's go to one more slide here. Here's a couple good points that they made in the article. It says, FIRE experts and proponents recommend building a robust cash reserve that can help shield you from having to withdraw money from a down portfolio. Now that's wise, no matter what. Whatever you're invested in, you don't want to have to be a motivated seller. So, a cash reserve, very smart. Cash reserve is great, even if the emergency that comes up isn't an emergency to sell and liquidate, but an emergency to buy somebody else's liquidated asset. How about, let's say, for instance, cryptocurrencies drop from their highs, like Bitcoin at almost 70,000 down to now like 15,000. And if you listen to people that really know what they're talking about, I really like Gareth Soloway. Man, that guy's brilliant. He thinks that Bitcoin's dropping to 5 or maybe even as low as 3,000 per coin. Then he's backing up the truck. All right. So again, saving some cash for a buffer in case of emergencies. Again, it's not only emergency bad, it can be emergency good opportunity. All right. One more bullet point here. I love this because this is very typical of, your mainstream gateway keepers, right? They say, want to earn more and learn more? Well, guess what? We have the answer. Register for the free CNBC virtual event on, it's coming up here in December 2022. So again, listen to us. We are the experts. We know what's best for you. Now, I got to give credit where credit is due. They did have this video at the end, and I have it here. I'm not going to play it for you, but there were some great quotes in there. There's some gold. Now, the way they bring up this video, this is kind of an extreme FIRE dude. He's 29 years old, and he's already saved up $380,000 for retirement by age 29. They highlight him as kind of an extreme dude because I think they're, again, trying to poke holes in this, saying there's no way you can do this. So he's got a wife and a little baby boy, and they've got a very simple lifestyle. They live in, I think it's Minneapolis, Minnesota. I lived there for a couple years. Freaking cold, man. You'd have to pay me a lot of money to live there. Sorry, love the people, but man, the place is cold. Anyway, he and his wife live an extreme FIRE lifestyle. They save literally half of their income. And, they get food cheap, and their entertainment is cheap, and they go into it. They love board games, and he loves running, and a lot of their hobbies are pretty cheap. But I love these two quotes at the very end. And watch this video. It's good. But he says, most of the experiences in life that will make you truly happy are actually free or extremely cheap. Yes, that is gold. He and I, dude, kindred spirits. Another great quote, saving money is buying freedom. Keep that in mind, especially when you want to buy your next toy, your next doodad, as Robert Kiyosaki would say. Saving money is buying freedom. Love it. All right, next slide. Now, for a FIRE program in a different way. Now, many people in FIRE, a couple years ago, they were talking about, I'm crypto billionaire. Look at me, retired early. Yeah, what are those guys saying now? Crap, my crypto fell through the floor. Yep, so anyway, I've got a different plan, and this is what I've worked on for many years. It's worked for me. It's worked for a lot of people that I've coached through it. And I don't offer a coaching program or anything, so don't click away. It's just free information. All right. And again, disclaimer, I am not your financial advisor, so get some advice before you do this. All right? I have to say that. But let's just take the financial independence, retire early, and do it with real estate. I think this is way better than just sticking in an account and hoping that the stock market goes up. And the stock market does traditionally go up, but real estate way better, and it's got some much better tax advantages, which we will not discuss here. But doing it this way, you will never have to tap into your principal. In fact, the principal grows, especially with inflation, and so does your income. All right, we got a picture of 5 houses here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these can be houses, they can be condos, they can be townhomes. I like single family homes. A lot of people like apartment buildings, but we're just gonna do this with 5 houses. So let's say you got your 5 houses, and let's say each one of these houses costs $200K. This was supposed to be a dollar sign. $200K each. Times 5, that equals $1 million invested. Now, over the space of 6-7 years, you absolutely can buy 10 homes. Over the space of 10 years, you absolutely can pay these homes down to nothing. Trust me on that. It can be done. And $200K, I know the average price of a home in the United States is more than that. But we're talking single family bread and butter homes that make good rentals. We're not talking about, really nice, gorgeous homes. Now, here in Salt Lake, 6-8 years ago, we were buying homes for $150K that now will bring in $1,500-$1,800 a month in rent. You cannot buy those homes right now for that same price. They might cost you double that, but there are still many places, and we will go over 15 cities in the United States where you can easily do this, right? I also love to invest in San Diego, and I'm looking at some places in Florida. Those are different markets. I've invested in Park City, Utah. Had many rentals up there. Very expensive market. I lived on Maui. I had 5 different properties there. Uh, th- Absolutely, your FIRE strategy can work anywhere you live, but there are some cities that will work with these exact numbers, even lower numbers than these for purchases. So shut up and don't criticize. All right, 200K each times 5 gives you $1 million in assets. Now, let's say that each of these gives you $1,700 a month in um, in rental income. You times that by 5, and you're going to get 8,500 per month. That's per month in income. That equals $102,000 per year. I'm telling you, in 10 years from now, if you can't live on $102,000, there's something wrong with you. I'm sorry. Cut back on a couple things. Don't eat out as much. Just, be smart. I'm sure you can. Yes, we're going to still have inflation. But guess what? These numbers will also have gone up. Trust me on that. The kind of inflation that I've seen in my rents over the last 10 years, it's been a lot. So, and I don't even keep all my properties up to true market rents. I give people a break if they are good tenants and they're paying on time. But still, rents have doubled in the space of 10 years easily. And so have the asset prices, if not tripled. So, again, you can live on this. Trust me, with money left over to buy crypto or whatever else you want to do, to have cash in the bank in case a water heater goes out, you need a new roof, or whatever needs to happen. All right, so who are you going to trust? Are you going to trust that dude in that article who says FIRE is terrible? Don't do it? No. Let's talk about 15 cities where you can do this right now. I Googled some of the most affordable cities in the USA, but that still have, decent incomes, right? So we got Youngstown, Ohio, Scranton, Pennsylvania. You do have to be careful in Pennsylvania. I know in some areas of the world, New York, Syracuse, New York is coming up on here too. Some of those areas are not as landlord friendly as others, but I'm just throwing these out there. Wichita, Kansas, Jackson, Mississippi, Little Rock, Arkansas, Indianapolis, Indiana. I know several landlords who manage their properties from afar, and they've got some places in Indianapolis, and they say great things about it. You can still buy homes at 120, 150,000 that will bring in easily $1,500 a month. So great numbers there. McAllen, Texas, Columbia, South Carolina, Augusta, Georgia. And man, there's a ton of cities in Florida that work out really well. I know they've had a couple hurricanes recently, but there are some places that are still high and dry that didn't wash away. Places like Jacksonville, parts of Daytona Beach, Ormond Beach, areas like that, Holly Hill. Just get something that's high and dry. Cape Coral, Dunedin, Fort Walton Beach, Lakeland, Vero Beach. Man, I love Florida. You got to be okay with some mosquitoes and a little bit of pest control. But I tell you what, there's some beautiful places there. I love their governor. He's doing a really great job. And anyway, between buying properties affordably and being able to collect good rents, there's some great ideas there. And again, who are you going to trust? Somebody telling you you cannot succeed? How dare you want to? Or somebody like me who's doing it? All right. Let's go to the next slide. Let me tell you, I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate you being a fan. If you're watching to the end, then I know you got to have some love for good financial information. Infotainment. I can't call it advice because I can't give you advice. But please like, subscribe, and share because it really helps us out. Also, please check out some of the other videos on our channel because we love to tell you how to retire early and often starting now. Thanks again and hope to see you again soon.